Welcome back, everyone. Today's lecture is going to be about supply. In the field of economics, to remind you where we are in the sequence of things, what we have is we looked at the production possibilities frontier, which gave you a sense of the options that a particular economy might face. After that, what we did is we said, well, different economies make decisions in different ways. Our economy uses markets as one of the central ways in which it makes decisions. And markets are places where people who sell stuff meet people who buy stuff. We looked at the demand side, the behavior and responses of the people who buy stuff. And now we're going to look at some elements of the behavior of sellers, the people who sell stuff. So in a market, just as we had consumers, each person coming in and looking at prices and deciding how much to buy of something, producers sell stuff. So this is output markets, and we're looking at people who sell things to consumers. In general, just as consumers just focus on the price and then go ahead and figure out how much to buy, in a market we're going to note that while different types of producers do have substantial variations, in general we're going to focus for now mainly on competitive markets. So in a competitive market, what happens is that just as I had the buyers of milk, I have the sellers of milk. And what is it that milk producers do? They look at the price, and they're not focused on the consumer, they're not focused on the person on the other side beyond the fact of whether they can get a price and sell milk. So individual producers in a market, like the individual consumers, are just looking at the price and making a decision about how much to sell. If you look at this, different producers have different levels of efficiency, different levels of productivity. Some people can produce more cheaply, some people need more revenue before they enter the market. So just as with consumers, we have different kinds of producers. And here, let's just say that we are going to look at these producers, and we are interested in the quantity supplied, in this case of milk. And we're going to say that the producers make a decision of how much milk they want to supply based on the price of milk. And as before, we're going to say ceteris paribus, other things equal. What this means is, of course, I know that there's lots of stuff that can determine decision making by a seller. Costs of inputs, government policies, infrastructure availability, all of those things might end up changing producer decisions. But essentially, we're going to hold all that constant, and we're going to focus only on producer responses to the price of the good they are selling. So in this market, like before, let us say that we have 5 producers, and I'm going to call them, instead of A, B, C, D, E, I'm going to call them H, I, J, K, L. All right, these are my 5 producers. And they are responding to the price of milk. Right? Now, what I'm going to say is, okay, let's say that the price was $1, $2, $3, $4, so on. And I'm going to say when the price was $1, that price was too low. Only one producer, H, was willing to supply a unit of milk. Nobody else felt that it was worth their while to sell milk because they're not making a whole lot of money when the price is 1. But if the price goes to 2, H is still planning to sell milk, 1 unit, but now we find that I enters the market and I actually sells 2 units of milk. J enters the market, K enters the market, L still finds the price too low. Right? And then when the price is 3, H decides to sell 2 units of milk, I sells 2 units of milk, J sells 2, K still sells 1, and L sells 1. Price is 4, let's say that H sells 3, I sells 3, J goes all the way up to 4, K goes to 2, L is still at 1. So what you can see, there is a general principle at play here, where as the price goes up, it becomes more profitable to produce something. And remember, this is because here we are in a situation where the ceteris paribus. So we're talking about an increase in the price of the good, but we are not talking about changes in input costs. We're not talking about changes in anything else. It's only the price of the good that's changing. And it's in response to that producers, depending on their technology and so on, figure out, okay, this is how much I can produce profitably. And when we come to the theory of the firm, we're going to see how that decision is actually made. But as we did with our consumers, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this and say, all right, so how much is sold in the market overall? At a price of 1, there's only one person trying to sell something in the market. At a price of 2, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At a price of 3, we get 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. At a price of 4, we get 3, 6, and 4, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the law of supply in this case tells us that as the price of the good goes up, the quantity supplied starts going up ceteris paribus. Right? So that's really all that the law of supply is. So just remember, we've got two agents. We still haven't put them together. We're going to have to do that later. But just as we did with demand, we're going to take some time using this idea, do some pictorial representations and graphing, and then come to an idea of how much we can interpret about the behavior of sellers from these graphs.